But actually, I forgot to tell you, we were talking about like our first week, what people had to say. Well, the WNBA fined me for
No! You got fined for episode 1?
Dude, they fined me $1,500. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is just the beginning. I was like, you're kidding.
Every time Sophie Cunningham speaks out about what's happening in the WNBA, her general manager gets another dreaded email, another fine, another punishment. This time, they didn't just double down, they tripled it.
Find her. Again. Sophie Cunningham has now been fined 4 times this season? She's had 4 separate fines this season. And she got fined for comments on a podcast episode about referees. And it wasn't even like it.
The voices are growing louder. Frustration is near boiling. And the once unthinkable is now openly debated across social media and sports forums. Sophie Cunningham's supporters have had enough, urging her to leave the WNBA entirely and speak her mind despite the repercussions from Commissioner Kathy Engelbert.
Man, leave Sophie Cunningham alone, Kathy Engelbert. Nobody care about that corrupted WNBA and those corrupted referees. Y'all want to fine her $500. Why? Because y'all feeling some type of way because you, as the commissioner, not doing your job for that bum league. You hear me? At the end of the day, y'all have so many injuries. It's crazy. Y'all have over 150 injuries this year recorded. That's insane.
Sophie Cunningham's new podcast, Show Me Something, debuted with the volume, and within days she was fined $1,500 for saying WNBA referees are human, but making too many mistakes.
They didn't like you then, they sure aren't going to like you now. Sophie Cunningham has been making waves with the new podcast that she is now featured in, courtesy of the volume. Sophie Cunningham letting it all out and not holding back one.
If you're enjoying this, please subscribe. Sophie Cunningham used her podcast to do something rare in today's WNBA. Speak the truth. She acknowledged referees have a tough job and even admitted she wouldn't be good at it, but questioned why so many obvious calls right in front of them are being missed.
And she pulls me aside and she goes, come here, Soph, I have to talk to you. And this is in like front of everybody. And I was like, what did I do now? And she just smiled and she goes, hey, they're going to fine you again. They're like, I was like, I even told them, I even credited them that their job was hard. I did say that. And I said that.
Sophie Cunningham was fined $1,500 not for disrespect, but for saying what everyone knows. WNBA officiating is inconsistent.
So you telling me if I'm getting bullied, I can't make a video about it? You gonna punish me because I'm letting everybody know and the whole world know what's going on with me and that I'm crying out for help? So you gonna make me the bad?
Sophie Cunningham tried to be fair, acknowledged referees' challenges, and still got fined $1,500 for telling the truth. Even her teammates joke nervously about what she'll say next, afraid honesty might get them penalized too. And this isn't her first run-in with the WNBA's fine machine.
It's uncommon for coaches or players to get fined in a professional league when talking about officiating. No, that's not uncommon. However, when your league is looking worse than the NFL on officiating, you know what you might ought to do? Sit down in the corner and shut the bleep up. And maybe you ought not be fining your players over it, because your officiating is dog.
Sophie Cunningham was fined $500 for a viral TikTok lip sync to Sabrina Carpenter's Man-Child, then $900 for defending Caitlin Clark after a rough foul in the Connecticut Sun incident, showing she'll stand by her teammates, even if it cost her.
It wasn't that long ago that Sophie Cunningham made this little TikTok video. And in said TikTok video, and you can see right here, this was July 23rd, she put this up and said she got fined $500 by the WNBA for...
Sophie Cunningham has been fined at least $2,900 this season $500 for a TikTok, $900 for defending Caitlin Clark, and $1,500 for podcast remarks. A big hit on a WNBA rookie scale salary of $60,000. Yet every fine has only made her stronger, boosting her social media following from 350,000 to over 1.6 million and drawing millions of views.
6 years of anonymity, Sophie Cunningham has suddenly become a superstar this season. Why? How did she accomplish the previously unachievable? How did she become a star in a league that seems to be allergic to star power? To her credit, Sophie Cunningham used her brain. She noticed that the path to stardom had already been cleared for her. She emulated the strategy that was utilized by Draymond.
Sophie Cunningham says what most fans believe, WNBA officiating is a mess, and is fine for it, even when defending Caitlin Clark from targeted, unchecked attacks.
But, I mean, here's the thing. Are the WNBA referees just kind of bad, especially this season? Yeah, they are. And I think they're just bad all around. You know, it's not even just like one player or one team or anything like that. Like, they're just overall, like, really bad. But here's the thing, right? Here's what I think, and this is not just pertaining to the WNBA, but just any sports league that has some sort of referee or just some sort of refereeing official. I think after every game, there should be a post-game conference for the referees, just like how there are for the players. And like I said, not even just in the WNBA, but in all sports leagues, because some of the calls that are made, I genuinely look and I'm wondering if I'm watching the same game.
Sophie Cunningham was fined $1,500 for criticizing officiating, while dangerous hits like Marina Mabrey's on Caitlin Clark drew minimal penalties, showing the WNBA punishes words more than harmful play.
Seeing players in our league try to like toughen up Caitlin. I know the talks that Phoenix had in the locker room of like, no, we're going to prove her, we're going to show her what the W really is. I'm like, what are people doing? It's just too much.
Finally, someone who gets it. Finally, someone in the WNBA who understands this thing called business.
Sophie Cunningham isn't swayed by intimidation, openly calling Caitlin Clark the face of the WNBA and mocking her detractors as ignoring the facts. She's compared Clark's fame to a cult following, with celebrity fans like Travis Kelce proving her mainstream reach. Yet the WNBA's $1,500 fine on Sophie, proportionally equal to a $200,000 NBA penalty, shows just how out of touch league leadership is.
People out there who refuse to say Caitlin Clark is the face of the league. People who would rather say this person and that person. What about her? What about her? No, there is only one face of the WNBA. There's only one person that has casuals sitting down in front of a TV, glued to their sofa, watching the WNBA. Sophie.
When Sophie Cunningham was fined $1,500, her teammates weren't surprised, they were scared. In Kathy Engelbert's WNBA, honesty is punished, creating a toxic climate where players fear speaking out. Sophie's rise shows fans crave unfiltered truth, and her podcast has become essential listening for those wanting the real story. While she's fined for acknowledging officiating issues, Engelbert oversees a league where its top star is targeted, attendance depends on one player, and even the commissioner admits the refereeing needs fixing.
The thing about this is, now that Sophie is bringing it up, now ESPN falling by the wayside of her and actually agreeing that there's some extra sauce going on when it comes to Caitlin Clark getting fouled, getting bullied a little bit, poked in the eye, all that stuff, man. So let's get to that. Why would you want to hurt what everybody is watching? That doesn't make sense. All right.
Sophie Cunningham's fines have only made her bigger, turning a $500 TikTok penalty, a $900 defense of Caitlin Clark, and a $1,500 podcast hit into milestones that built her into one of the WNBA's most influential voices.
Basically, was talking about, you know, the refs need to protect. I'm pretty sure. Was it not for her saying the refs need to protect Caitlin Clark? I'm pretty sure it's what she essentially said. The refs need to protect Caitlin Clark. And like Caitlin Clark said, you know, finally someone did it. Like she basically talked about being like the refs need to protect the face of the league.
Sophie Cunningham's criticism of referees highlights a bigger problem. The WNBA silences voices instead of fixing issues. Rather than protect its stars, it punishes those who defend them, Sophie's authenticity, loyalty, and courage have turned Fines into influence and credibility. Yet Kathy Engelbert's response is to keep docking her pay, drawing fan praise for Sophie and frustration toward league leadership.